Hey guys, I'm Nick of Books Are Sick, here with another desk video at my desk. Here I am. Glad you're here. I've been a little quiet on here for a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks since I posted a video. I apologize for that. It's been a heavy little stretch on my end dealing with loss, and so just kind of coming out of that and trying to keep busy, and so I apologize for the quietness on my end, but I do have a video here for you today. At my desk, as I mentioned, which is where I always am. So I don't know why I announced that at the beginning of every video, but I guess it's become kind of a thing. So I'm just going to continue with it. Before we get into the stack of books I have here, this is the topic of discussion today. I want to give you a bit of a reading update. I am still reading The Count of Monte Cristo, of course. I'm halfway through, officially at the halfway point on this monster book here, where there are so many characters that have multiple names, sometimes 3-4 names, and there's so much connectivity within this book that you need to remember. It is brilliant. This book, I mean, oh, did you guys hear The Count of Monte Cristo is good? Yeah, it's actually really good, believe it or not. And I'm doing a big 3-month read along of it over on my book club. If you care to join along, if you've ever wanted to join or read The Count of Monte Cristo, I should say, I'm going to show you here. I made a collection here. This collection will have all of the update videos, all the weekly update videos that I've done for this book. So if you're in the future wanting to read this book and you want something to kind of help you out along the way, that could be of use to you, perhaps. I'm not sure, but it's there if you want it. And then once we finish The Count of Monte Cristo, we will be getting into Under the Dome by Stephen King. Under the Dome is going to be our next big book read-along. It's probably going to be a 7-week read-along, not a 3-month read-along, because it's not necessary, but I'll be doing weekly update videos for that one as well. And I'm excited about that. You know, I'm really excited to read Under the Dome. I'm excited to finish The Count of Monte Cristo. I am in a weird headspace with my reading right now for probably a lot of life reasons. But I have started The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. And this is, I can tell, I'm very early on into Invisible Man. This is my book club's official book for this month, the month of February. And I can tell that this is going to be one of the more challenging books that I've ever read, just in terms of pacing and dialogue and storytelling. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I think that this is going to be a pretty phenomenal book from what I have read so far, but just a challenge in the sense that I'm going to be needing to pay that much more attention to what is going on here, right? But that is what I'm currently reading. I started True Grit by Charles Portis last night, just on a whim, because I was like, I don't know what to do. So I started this, and this has been really good so far. Man, if you like Lonesome Dove, you're probably going to love this. This was actually recommended to me by Joe Hill, and I asked him, what's a great book for people looking to just start getting into reading, and he said this is a great one, and I have to agree with him thus far. It has been, the language of it is just, it is my speed, it is my thing. I love it. Okay, and I'm also reading Insomnia. I don't have the thing on here, but you can see it on the side, maybe, if I have my face. Insomnia by Stephen King. This is a big book here, really, really big, and this has been lovely so far. I'm about 100 and, where am I at here? About 130 pages in to this book so far. I did not realize, I had to look this up after I got a little ways in here. This is not based off of that Al Pacino movie. I don't know why. I always assumed Insomnia was based off of that Al Pacino movie by the same title. It's not. It's not at all, but this has been really good. I started The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of in a bit of a mess with my reading thing at the moment. But the only other update that I wanted to give you book club-wise is that the poll is coming to a close. I think it might already be closed. Should I check? Actually, it might already be closed. And we are doing, the theme for March is our brutal past and present. And we're doing nonfiction books, and we are going to learn some stuff. I like to throw 1 or 2 nonfiction months in a year. This is going to be one of them. And I got to check to see if the poll closed, because there's 6 hours left. But the 3 books that made it through, why don't I give you the full list first? And then I can let you know which 3 made it past. But we got The Hot Zone by Richard Preston, The Coming Plague by Laurie Garrett, The Indifferent Stars Above by Daniel James Brown, They Called Themselves the KKK by Susan Campbell, The Best Land Under Heaven by Michael Wallace, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot, The Jungle by Upton Sinclair, The Origins of Totalitarianism by Hannah Arendt, Bloodlands by Timothy Snyder, which is one I really want to read. I have a copy of that. Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. That one's by D. Brown. In the Trenches by Eugene B. Sledge. Dispatches by Michael Herr. Columbine by Dave Cullen. Midnight in Chernobyl by Adam Higginbotham. The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. And Shock Doctrine by Naomi Klein. Just a lot of happy books, a lot of uplifting stuff. Yeah, so that is those are the books that everyone had to vote on. And the three that made it through are Midnight in Chernobyl, which I was not surprised about because that is a very popular book in the nonfiction world, one that I'm excited to read regardless of what wins. The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks and Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee were the three that moved on to the final poll. How we work the book club is I throw together a poll every month, and the book club decides through a series of polls, what the book is going to be. And so currently in the lead is The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot, and there's 6 hours left. This one is currently in the lead, so there's a good shot this is going to be the winner, and I'm stoked about that because I've heard this is just totally fascinating, and I can't wait to read it if it does, regardless of whether or not it wins, but if it does, all the better. And so that is the final little update thing I will give you, and we're going to get on to this stack here. This is a stack of 11 books. 11 whole books here. Oh my gosh. And these are books that I think would be great to kickstart your reading journey, your reading career, what have you. These are books that are not necessarily easy books. They're perhaps a little bit more approachable than, say, The Stand or maybe The Invisible Man, as I mentioned. But these are just really good books. I think that these are just great books that will have you hooked on reading and will have you fall in love with reading and have you kind of maybe go, oh, this is sick. I'm a fan of this, And so, because I feel like when you're first starting, it's just, it's hard to know, like, which book do I grab? You're in a bookstore and there's like 40,000 books, which one am I supposed to go towards? There's a lot of great people out there that recommend a lot of great books. And this is just a few that I thought might be good for you if you're looking to do that. Let's get into it. Sorry, my brain is mush. At the top here, I've got a really short one. This is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. And you might be already thinking like, okay, because a lot of people have read this, a lot of people have heard of this, but I will tell you, I had not read it until I'd heard of it, but I had not read it until I started really reading books about 4 years ago. And I loved this book. This book is about friendship. This is set in the Great Depression. It's really boldly written, and it's very sad. It's very heart-wrenching at times, and it will leave you it is a short book, but it doesn't matter. By the end of it, you will be staring at a wall thinking, wow, I just experienced something that I think has changed my brain a little bit. And that's at least how I felt when I read it. And, I think sometimes when you're first getting into reading, at least this was the case for me, you just want to finish a book. At least I did. I was just like, I think I just need to finish a book and then I can keep going and not be so all in my head about reading, I just got to get one under my belt. And this is one you can read in an hour or two, okay? And you should, because, man, it is really, really good. Of Mice and Men. And then if you like Steinbeck, if you like his writing, you can get into The Pearl, which is about the same length as this one. The Pearl is awesome. You can read The Grapes of Wrath, also set during the Great Depression. East of Eden, one of the best books I've ever read in my life. You can really go on a Steinbeck roller coaster and just be better for it. Next, we have another classic here. This is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Fun fact, this book was written when S.E. Hinton was 16 years old, which is crazy. I believe it came out in the 60s, and this book follows Pony Boy. He's in this kind of gang of, he's on the poor side of the city, right? And he's in this gang that are kind of, their enemy, their arch nemesis is the Sox, I believe, if I'm remembering that correctly. And they are kind of the rich people. And this kind of deals with, societal clashes and just a rich versus poor sort of mentality, the teenager mentality, the angst in this book. It all just feels very genuine and very real. And S.E. Hinton wrote this kind of based on her own experiences with being a teenager. And that's maybe why it feels so authentic. And it really is a great read. Another quick read too. You're looking at 130 pages. This is one you can pick up and crush in a day if you really put your mind to it. And it's a really just fantastic book. And I think this book was actually credited for birthing the YA genre, because when it came out, there weren't really a lot of books that had the perspective of a teenager. You know, this is one of the first. And so this kind of birthed the YA genre, which is really, really cool. But just a really, really good, powerful book that is now obviously a classic and a pretty incredible origin story. Next up, we got Clear. This is by Carys Davies. And this is again, you know, you're looking at friggin' 183 pages. I mean, look at how that's not so bad, guys. That's not so bad. You could do it. You could do this. This is a beautiful cover. This is about a preacher, not a preacher, a pastor. I always get the religious people confused, that is going to remove someone from this island. He's kind of like the last person living there. This is set during the Irish clearances, and it's just a really interesting, fascinating little book that will kind of go in a direction that you're maybe not expecting. And it's really beautifully written and very powerfully written, and I really loved it a lot. Quick read, and I think you will really enjoy it. I should probably go a little faster here, eh? Normal People by Sally Rooney. I love this book. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, not everybody loves this book, but I love this book. This book is about Connell and, Connell, I always forget her name, Margaret? Marianne. Marianne and Connell have this complicated relationship where they love each other. They're from two very different classes. You know, she's very wealthy. He's less so, and they're kind of, they fall deeply in love, and then they kind of never really fully connect, but they always have this lingering connection, and it just will frustrate you, and you'll just love them. If you're like me, you will. And I just loved it. I love the dialogue. I love how simply written this is. I just loved it. So I don't know. Maybe you'll like it too. And yeah, what are you looking at for this one? Maybe I'll just tell you every time here. You got 270 pages. I bet you could crush this in 4 or 5 hours. No sweat. Okay, we're moving on to a really cool book here. This is by one of my favorite authors, if not probably my favorite author. This is Revival by Stephen King. Revival by Stephen King. This is about a guy who's obsessed with electricity. This is another minister. I gotta get my terminology right here. One of those guys, you know what I mean? And he is the, I'll just say pastor for the small town. And he's kind of, as I mentioned, really into electricity, as you may have guessed from this cover with this big lightning bolt. And he has a tragedy happen to him where he loses his wife and his child. And he kind of falls out of the religion that he has been at the head at for so long. And he kind of leaves the town, gets ousted from the town. He gives this really terrible sermon and talks about how unfair life is, rightfully so. And there's this little boy that has always had a connection with the pastor and kind of really has grown up with him. And when he leaves, that's kind of it. And he's, as this boy kind of grows up, he sort of falls out of religion as well, but then meets up with this pastor again down the line. And I don't know how much I should say about this book, but it's kind of a saga-ish book with an ending that is totally bonkers. You're either going to love it or you're going to be like, that was not for me. But I loved it. It's probably one of my favorite Stephen King endings just because of how insanely bonkers it is. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe you'll like that one. Okay, moving on. Okay, there are 3 Stephen King books in this stack. I apologize in advance. The Revival was one of them. This is another. This is The Body by Stephen King. Now, I chose this one because, again, it's not very long, and I did mention the crushability. Sometimes you just want to get that book under your belt. This is a great one to make that happen for you. And this is the book that Stand By Me, one of the best movies of all time, I think, was based on. And the book is just as good as the movie, I think. It really, really is. It's a fantastic, very punchy book about this group of boys that go try to find a dead body, you know? And it's about their relationship with one another, their dynamics with one another. And it's so, again, I'll use the word authentic. It just feels very real. It's set during a time that doesn't exist anymore where, you know, these kids could just go off and you just don't see them for a day or two, and it's like, oh, that's normal. It's a lovely book. Okay, moving on here. This one I put in here for a few reasons. Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Now, the first reason is that this book rules. I love this book. It is so exciting and so fun. This is such a fun, brutal adventure book that I can't recommend enough. is also, obviously, a lot of you have probably seen the movie Jurassic Park, and you might be thinking like, do I really need to read the book? And you do, because what might be really fun for you, if this is the first book that you dive into, is noticing the differences between the movie and the book. It might be a fun sort of added challenge for you, maybe an added layer of excitement for you to help you get through the book. It's just, you'll start noticing like, wait a second, that's not what happened, or wait a second, that wasn't in there. The book is quite a bit different from the movie, and so it might just be an additional layer of fun for you to read it and kind of see the differences. I like doing that, and this is a great one to do that for. I've seen Jurassic Park the movie a billion times, and so when I read this book, I was like, wait a second, hold on. I loved it. Okay. This one here, Beartown by Fredrik Backman. Fredrik Backman, I think, is a very approachable author. His books are very readable, which is a stupid word to use for books, but, you know, he is a very readable author. Anybody can dive into a Fredrik Backman book and get a lot out of it. This one is one of the more well-known ones. This is set in a small town that has a junior hockey team that is kind of the pinnacle of this town. It's like what keeps this town alive. It's what everybody in this town loves and worships, is their junior hockey team. And when the leader, the star player of this junior hockey team, commits a crime, societal questions are asked, community loyalty questions are asked. You know, how far do we go to protect this entity that is our entire personality? You know, where do we stop? Where's the line? It's a very very good book. Sorry, my brain again is mush. I love Beartown. And there are 3 others that you can read as well. I've read the Us Against You, I believe is the second one. Very good. And I'm about still halfway through the Winners. I kind of stopped on that one because I got Beartowned out. But Beartown, great book. Next up here, similarly to the Jurassic Park book that I have in here, I put Fight Club, because Fight Club, again, it's a movie a lot of people have seen, and so you can read the book and kind of have that base layer for what's going on, because sometimes I feel like I'm this way too. When I start a book, I'm worried that I'm just going to be confused the whole time and not really know what's going on, and then I've just wasted my time and I'm like, I'm stupid. So Fight Club, you'll have that base layer in you of the movie knowledge, and you can just enjoy this really punchy book for what it is. It's a great Chuck book. Chuck has a lot of good books. This is one of my favorites by him. It's great. So there's that one. Whole bunch of dust just shot off that one. We also got Vicious here. Vicious by V.E. Schwab. If you're looking to get into maybe some fantasy sci-fi type stuff, this is I believe this is like considered a YA book, I think. The first one is anyways. I believe the sequel isn't. I can't remember. But this is about 2 college buddies that are super smart, and they basically discover that if you have a near-death experience, you can gain these like crazy powers. I'll leave it at that. It's a very fast-paced book, high energy. You'll fly right through it. So if fantasy is more your thing, that's probably the one that I have to recommend to you for an entry point. Now, finally here, this is the last one. This is also a Stephen King one. Don't let the size of this scare you. This is just a weird print where it looks a lot bigger than it is. It's not a short book. I mean, you're approaching 500 pages with this book. It's not short, but it's not as scary as this may seem. Salem's Lot. Salem's Lot by Stephen King is a vampire book that I think, honestly, is such a great one to start with. It's the second book he ever wrote. So if you want to do the chronological thing, you can start with Carrie and then go to this one. But this one, you know, there's something to be said about the character dynamics in here, how flushed out all of the characters are, how flushed out the town the story exists in is, and you'll just never be confused. You'll never be confused. You'll be scared. You'll be excited. It really, this is, I think, one of those books where you might start it, and then before you know it, you're halfway through this thing, and you're like, you don't even notice. You're like, whoa, I read 300 pages. How'd that happen? It really is one of those books, I think. I love it. I love Salem's Lot. So that's just a little collection of books that I think might be good for you if you're looking to get into reading books. Do one of those, or do whatever you want. You know, you're your own person. I'm just here at my desk trying to talk about stuff. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's all I got for you today, my dudes. I will be back next week with another video of some sort, and I hope that you're doing good. And again, the link for my book club is down below. If you've ever wanted to join, that's there, and I'm over there doing stuff as well. Okay, see you guys.